In this special episode of The Wealth Witch, Leah Steele teams up with Michelle Patrick to dive into the 5 elements theory, how connecting with the 5 elements can support you with your self-mastery. In today's episode, Leah and Michelle discuss the fire element. To find out more about the 5 elements and the frequency of immortality, click the link in the description below.
This is Leah Steele, aka The Wealth Witch, and this is my podcast. I'm here to activate you to remembrance of your divine birthright to be wealthy in all areas of your life. This podcast is for people ready to have controversial conversations about the financial control, manipulation, and tyranny that faces humanity today.
I'm gonna live in freedom. I'm gonna live my destiny. I'm gonna live my freedom. I'm gonna live, the time is right now.
The Wealth Witch. It's for the people who are ready to wake up, deconstruct their wealth programming, and free themselves from the financial slavery consciousness that serves the global financial agenda. I'm committed to realizing a new global wealth paradigm where economic freedom is the reality and where you get to design and live the life of your dreams. Now let's do the damn thing.
Okay, so this is the first in this series. Michelle and I are so excited to be here doing this. The series has been a long time coming. Some of you may have seen the incredible series called The Cheat Codes that Michelle did with Taryn Lee inside the Evolve Facebook group. And I know that Michelle's been wanting to do a follow-up to that series. And we were just kind of brainstorming when we were all in London together about a series that would be fun to do. And so we decided to do this because Michelle and I are both super passionate about how we use our Healys to bring ourselves further into alignment elementally. And we have a really one of our signature programs in launch right now. And we just thought it'd be a really great time and opportunity to come in and talk a little bit more about all of those topics that we just said. So we are talking about fire today, but I think because this is the first in the series, it would be good for us to give you a little bit of background on how we got here, what we're, what the point of this whole thing is. And also, I think just give a little bit of background, both of us, on how Healy came into our lives and how we're currently using it. So Michelle, do you want to just kind of introduce yourself and talk a little bit about, who you are and all your accolades and, why people should actually be listening to us and taking advice from us, these random chicks on the internet.
Random chicks on the internet. We're definitely not random chicks on the internet. Hello, people. I am Michelle. A lot of you probably know me already. I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine and naturopathic medicine. I'm a 5-element theory and philosophy geek. I use it in my clinical practice, but also with my clients and also in the self-mastery of my own life. And I also have a really strong investment as self-mastery as a foundation to holistic wellness, because, it all starts with our unique environments. I have been obsessed with 5-element theory just as part of my integrative practice within the paradigm of my own doctrines, i.e. being a Chinese medicine, and use it as a base foundation for expansion in all areas of my life and in all areas of my clients' and patients' lives. And me and Leah obviously came together in unison over, deep, passionate love of these particular theories, and just in ode to the amazing changes and support systems that it really gives as a foundation for expansion in all areas of life.
Yeah, amazing. So, and for those of you that don't know, I'm Leah Steele, sometimes known as the Wealth Witch. I'm a holistic wealth strategist. So for me, what that means is that I teach people a means and a way to achieve sustainable wealth in all areas of their lives. And I really believe that, holistic wealth is the catalyst to our ability to tap into infinite divine and human potential, and to be able to do that simultaneously. That's the experience that I believe we're here to have on this planet. And to really be able to tap into our limitlessness. And I've been on a journey of learning how to do that myself for many, many years. But one of the most radically transformative things that happened to me was when Michelle came into my orbit, and I had my first 5-element acupuncture session with her. And it just totally blew my mind. And I'm a 5-1 in human design. So my investigator line wants to know all the things about all the things. And I was so fascinated by the work that she was doing that, I really wanted to begin to know more about 5-element theory. And so we actually decided at the time to do a trade, because I had a program running and some skills that Michelle wanted, and she had some wisdom and knowledge that I wanted. And so we embarked on this journey, and that, I guess, was in 2019. And we started that trade. And as that relationship evolved, we, in the combination of our two skills, which Michelle obviously has this just incredible depth of wisdom and knowledge when it comes to, traditional Chinese medicine, but also 5-element theory and naturopathy and herbology. And I don't even know what her other 200 PhDs are in, but she has...
My God.
She has all the wisdom and all the knowledge. And I am an emotional clearing practitioner and have been really passionate about helping people deconstruct programming and conditioning using emotional clearing. And so through this journey together, we realized that there was a modality here, and we developed what we believe is the most incredible modality on the planet. Called emotional resonance clearing. And we have now graduated 4 classes of practitioners who are out doing this work in the world. And we have a 5th class that's about to start in June. And and we've got some really incredible processes within that modality that we take people through that are just hugely transformative, and really help people alchemize and bring themselves into energetic harmony, which is also what Healy does. So that's just a little bit about us and how we came together. As we go through this series is actually a 5-part series, and those 5 sessions will be taking place over the next 10 to 12 days. We will be sharing more with you of our journey. At some point, I do plan on bringing up our before and after pictures.
Oh my God.
Because we, not only are we doing this work in the world and are we seeing radical transformation in our clients, but we ourselves have experienced such radical transformation and continue to, in all of our 5 bodies, not just physically, but we have had dramatic physical change since we started implementing this modality and started using Healy, which actually happened relatively around the same time. Yeah. And there's no mistakes, right? Because Healy is so aligned with everything that we do. And we both are super passionate about the device and about, we both use it every single day. So maybe, Michelle, you want to talk a little bit about your experience with frequency medicine and why you're so passionate about Healy, and maybe a little bit about how you use Healy. I mean, however, if you want to share in your practice or in your day to day. And I know that, and again, there's so much information that Michelle has already shared inside the Evolve Facebook group. And we will send out the links to that Facebook group in the replay of this webinar. If you're catching this, just by the way, if you're catching this on Facebook, we did decide to put the first event in this series on our public pages, but the rest of this will be happening inside a private Facebook group. So you're going to want to register, because that will give you access to all of the replays and also access to all the resources that we're talking about in the series. So you can register very, very easily by going to immortalfrequency.com, www.immortalfrequency.com. Just register so that we can make sure that we get you emailed all the resources that we talk about and all the resources and all the, what was I going to say? Oh, the replays. And we've been known to give away some gifts during these free live stream series also, but you'll get access to those through the replays as well. So you'll definitely want to register. So Michelle, take it away. Frequency medicine, Healy, whatever you want to talk about and discuss. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go actually kind of check some of these pages and make sure that we don't have any questions or things popping up.
So I've always, I'm highly invested in the evolution of wellness, period, in general, especially through our unique experiences of our own capacity to be well and the exploration of radical self-observation in our journey of wellness, because we are all unique individuals expressing ourselves here on the planet, and it takes our own unique eye to often know what brings us into balance. And I've always thought that frequency medicine is the future, actually, in some way, shape, or form. So when Healy was delicately placed in my hand, as somebody who's an enthusiast of frequencies and all frequencies, and also the evolution of wellness, I was just blown away that I could fit a device that often is quite large in the paradigms of technological advancements into the palm of my hand. Now, I had quite, although I have a love of frequency medicine, I had quite a radical experience with frequency medicine myself. I remember, especially using my Healy resonance, the quantum resonance device, part of my Healy resonance. I woke up paralyzed one day, but the story behind that was that the day before, my Healy resonance was telling me to run nerve, spine, lower lumbar spine, and all of the things associated with, my lower back injury that I essentially received in the night. So I thought my Healy had gone crazy, because I never ever get any nerve issues or back issues or anything like that. I thought that my resonance was just having a moment. And then the next day I opened my eyes and essentially woke up without movement in my lower body. And it turned out that I had given myself a spinal injury in the evening, in the nighttime. So I was just, obviously terrified, but blown away at the capacity that Healy had brought into my life, just through the acknowledgement of that and the quantum aspects of it being amazing. I also had just as another geek moment with Healy, I had an injury a couple of days ago. Well, it wasn't a couple of days ago. It was, I don't know, about 5 days ago now, where I actually cut my finger down to the bone, cutting fruit. And immediately, it was quite radical. I immediately ran my Healy, just out of curiosity, in the midst of the trauma, and Healy told me to run local wounds and local skin. So it really is quite a mind-blowing device, and I immediately started using it on my local injury after I'd been to urgent care. Obviously, Western medicine does have its uses, specifically pertaining to trauma, and it's been quite miraculous, actually. It's actually been quite miraculous. It's healing quite radically. And I really kind of associate that with the use of my Healy, to be honest. Not just in my local personal injuries, but just in the overall holistic investment of my vitality. It's a vital part of my wellness plans. I will not be without it. We live in a world where we are surrounded by disruptive frequency and vibrations, of instability all around us. And while the human body is obviously evolving to deal with these things, we are creation. Creation always has a divine plan. It knows what it's doing. I do believe that a little help goes a long way, in the rebalancing of these frequencies that can often throw us off our emotional paths, our physical paths, and anything other than cultivating greatness and, in the exploration of our lives. So, yes, Healy's my boo.
So I would love to ask you a question, because I think that this comes up a lot. And, one of the objections that we hear about Healy from, energy workers or spiritual practitioners that work and, work with energy, frequency, and vibration in a non technological way is that, a question about whether or not, Healy is becomes a crutch, or whether it's disruptive to our own ability to balance ourselves energetically and balance our bioenergetic fields if we're using an external device to do that. And I'm just interested to know, I know we've had some conversations, you and Taryn and I have had some conversations about this, but I think it would be really great for you to share your viewpoint on that from a the position of a doctor, but also somebody who's highly spiritual in nature, and like what your thoughts and feelings are on frequency medicine and on Healy specifically in relation to that.
Well, I think that we're all energy workers, first and foremost. There's not a human being on the planet that is not an energy worker. Whether you are tapped into your innate kind of acknowledgement of the what is highly different to, those are two different things. So I think we're all energy workers. I think the whole world is energy and vibration. And, right now I'm sitting in a room and I'm sure that I am being interfered with by the Wi-Fi from the 10 other apartments in this building, as well as the energetic frequency and vibration that just emits from us being alive. And I believe that in the evolution of our wellness, as a society of human beings, just as meditation can, help sedate and kind of squeeze down disruptive energies and frequencies in the body, Healy is just another tool for that. It's just an evolution of the tools of mastery that we have been given, that are being created by the genius of humanity and brought into the systemic kind of value of our lives. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I don't think it's interfering. I feel like the interference is already all around us, and bringing in something that's able to really read the value and the frequency of our own emissions is only a good thing.
Yeah. So I think that's a good transition into talking about the Shen and talking about the fire element, because this element is all about consciousness, and Healy is all about consciousness and raising the collective consciousness of the planet. And I feel like, one of the things that I know that you and I talk about a lot with Healy is that what we really feel, one of the things that we feel it does very, very well is help people with their own self-awareness about what's happening in their body. So we're given this incredible tool through, resonance. If you use Healy resonance, maybe we should actually talk a little bit about what Healy is, because we are putting this in some places that aren't all about Healy. So I'm just going to do a little quick, what is Healy? Then we'll move into talking about the Shen and the fire element. So this incredible little beauty is Healy, and it is a bioresonance device. It is the brainchild of an incredible man named Marcus Schmieke, who not only is a quantum physicist, but was a Vedic monk. He owns a company and founded a company called Time Waver, which is the leader in frequency medicine. And he had a vision of taking frequency medicine and allowing it to be accessible to everyone. And Healy was born. He has a vision of having this little device in 100 million homes. And we're super passionate about that, and passionate about helping him make that dream a reality, because we know how radically transformative this is. And it's been so incredible in our lives. But this device, I actually have my coil connected right now. And so when the device looks like this and it has the coil connected, it actually is delivering frequency to your bioenergetic field using scalar frequency and technology. But this device also delivers frequency through microcurrent. And we could go on and on and on. There's lots and lots of information about Healy. So if you are new to Healy and you've never heard about Healy before, reach out to me or reach out to Michelle, and we can get you some more information on it. But I just felt like it might be good to do a little info, because we are streaming this to a couple of pages that, perhaps aren't it's not the full, everybody knows all the things about Healy already. But coming back to the purpose of this live stream event, which is to really talk about the 5 elements and the 5 spirits associated with those elements, and how that connects and corresponds into frequency medicine and vibration and energy and frequency. I'll just kind of start with saying that we all know, it's scientifically proven, everything is energy. Everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. This little device works a lot with the work of Nikola Tesla. So this is nothing new. It's been around for a really, really long time. But perhaps what everybody doesn't know as well is that not only is everything energy, vibration, and frequency, but everything is also elemental. And this device is, Healy brings our bioenergetic field into balance. 5 element theory is all about bringing your elemental nature into balance. The kind of all encompassing energy of 5 elements is the Shen. Elementally, when we talk about 5 element theory, we're talking about elements of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And each of those elements have their own distinct and unique alchemical nature. And so the work that Michelle and I do is to help people bring those elements into balance so that they can live a holistically wealthy life. And so obviously that work that we do interacts very, very well with the Healy, who brings bioenergetic field into balance. And so today we're going to be talking about the fire element. And I think it's, really great to start with that, just because fire element is all about consciousness, clear thought and consciousness. And, Healy is about consciousness. Yes. But what we were talking about is the beauty of this device is that it actually helps us tap into our own awareness. Yeah. And, by using the resonance feature, it's like it aids us in starting to be able to understand what's happening with us energetically. But one of the things that we love about it is that it does foster that own inner physician, and it helps you tap into your own consciousness. It helps you expand your own consciousness. So maybe you want to riff a little bit on that, and then also kind of tie in some foundational pieces about fire element and consciousness and the Shen spirit. And then we can really talk about, how we feel like that pertains to frequency medicine. And we can talk about some of the programs that we use to alchemize, aside from your incredible programs, which we can also talk about, but the programs, within the Healy program pages that we use to actually bring this element and this spirit into balance. But maybe you can share a little bit about, just quickly for anyone that's new, and I know it's hard to quickly do this, but
this is me you're talking about.
Share a little bit about the kind of, elements and spirits, and maybe just give them a little bit of an overview of that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure what happened in my moment of technological disability. So please forgive me for repeating any information. I'm sure Leah gave you the foundations, of the elements. The 5 elements theory that we're working with is that of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. Metal also pertaining to air, for those of you with other elemental practices. And they are the building blocks of the whole universe, as you probably witness in your external ecology, and us human beings being building blocks of the universe, contain all of them. So all of these kind of elements contain different organ systems, different tissues, different fluids, different alchemical virtues, shall I say. And often, when things are out of sight, out of mind, especially pertaining to our internal ecologies, we very rarely link them to chronic emotional, mental or spiritual disturbances that we experience in our day-to-day life. But through 5 element theory and philosophy, it really gives you a direct insight to your own unique imbalances that you may be experiencing, not just systemically, but emotionally, and the fire element is that of the heart. The organs of the fire element are the heart, the triple burner, the pericardium, and the small intestine. And the heart is a pretty big organ, from a TCM value, it's viewed as the emperor of the whole system, just because of its link to blood and its capacity to influence the psyche and the mind, and our own unique expressions of who we are. They say that the alchemical virtue of the fire element is to know yourself, to really be in the full expression of your unique journey here. And that could change. Consciousness is not sedentary, so it doesn't mean, the Michelle I am today has to be the Michelle I am tomorrow. But what it really means is being fully expressed in the way that consciousness particularly flows through your system right here, right now. And that really says a lot about how we react with our mental health and, the psyche in that. So the heart is directly linked to mind, we say, and that's the quality of the heart, the actual organ, the heart, and the fluids and the tissues involved in that, and the blood and whatnot, is a direct reflection of the mind. It's amazing.
It's so amazing. I feel like there's so many places like I want to go with that. Listening to you talk, I'm like, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. But maybe we can. Yeah, I'm not
like, I don't know where to go with that.
Well, part of me wants to talk a little bit about just as an introduction to like some of the work that we do and why we do the work that we do, you know, our program, we have a program called Inner Alchemy, and we have, you know, we have our emotional resonance clearing, we have our practitioner training and such. This program, Becoming Immortal, that we're getting ready to start right now, I think like that becoming immortal term is a little bit intimidating to people. But when we talk about immortality, you know, what you and I are really referring to is longevity and vitality. It's like, it's this constant exploration of how do we get closer? How do we become more vital? How do we expand and extend our longevity? And that, you know, obviously there are like very physical ways to do that through nutrition and herbology and physical exercise and movement and, you know, all of those things we talk about in Becoming Immortal. But I feel like this piece that pertains more to like what we were just talking about, like the alchemical process of knowing ourselves and of, you know, our mind and our consciousness, that, and how important, like maybe you can just talk a little bit about like how important that is in this process of vitality and in this process of, you know, seeking longevity. And I think that's, you know, this is a place where I think the work that we do and the combination of 5-element theory and Healy, like there's real magic that occurs when we bring these together, because you've got Healy, which is, you know, has the ability to scan and bring your bioenergetic field into balance. But, you know, through really looking at and addressing imbalances in the different elements that exist inside of all of us, we're doing that as well.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think especially pertaining to the fire element per se, and really being able to express your unique expression of consciousness, you know, which is the alchemical virtue of the heart and the fire element. It really is dependent on the holistic environment of your own ecology, you know, and often we are not fully expressed because that holistic environment has so much, can be imbalances, you know, brought on by the world around us, by the food that we're eating, by all of the things. Somebody's just said, our imbalance is the lessons to be learned. Isn't everything a lesson to be learned? That's why you're in your body. You know, every illness is an opportunity, or anything that happens in life is an opportunity to deepen in the consciousness of your own understanding of your unique journey. So I think everything's a lesson, just to answer that quickly. But really exploring the nature of fire and the nature of this element, especially in tandem with something like Healy highlights your personal deficiencies, you know, not just organ deficiencies, but emotional pathologies that might be quite chronic or systemic to your life, you know, and that disable you from living in the expansive, vital nature that we are born here to be here. You know, we're not just put here to live a life of entropy. We're born here to really experience the fullness of being the alchemists of our existence. And that means being and deserving to be in a state of wellness to do so. And, you know, especially pertaining to the fire element and the virtues of the fire element, I feel like Healy would definitely, for me, and definitely with my patients and the clients that I work with, as a tool of mastery, because we have many tools of mastery, help us really home in on the chronic nature of some things that we might be ignoring just in our busy lives, you know, that could be really stagnating the greatness that we are thriving to experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that one of the really incredible things to me about beginning to understand 5-element theory and beginning to understand, you know, how the 5 spirits specifically for me, because that just always seems like I'm super interested in that. How when these spirits are disturbed or they're out of balance, you know, they create the pathology that keeps us in patterns of limiting beliefs and, you know, out of, you know, keep us engaged in our not self and out of the highest level version of self. But it also, you know, has been really fascinating to me to see how like this continued imprinting of pathology in the organs and meridian systems of the body then leads to these primary questions that actually like put us in a place where we're operating on autopilot, and we actually step out of a place of free will, and we step into a like, for example, so joy is the primary emotion associated with fire in the Shen. And so what we see when we have Shen disturbance, right, is like lack of joy a lot, and inability to concentrate, and can't think clearly, and feel like we can't figure things out, and feel like we're stuck and not able to like sort things out. Right. It's fascinating to me how much we don't understand this, and how, we're not, and so maybe you can talk about this a little bit, because, part of the reason why I was so fascinated by the work that you did, because I was an advanced practitioner in emotional clearing of another modality. And I was like, never really understood why we weren't learning more or tapping more into like why certain emotions get stuck and trapped in certain organs of the body. Like it always like, that was always felt like it was glossed over. And I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about that. And it's been really fascinating to me to actually now be able to see that, having a real lack of joy in our life that that continually imprints in our small intestine, because that's where lack of joy resides, right? Then leads to us like over and over and over, we're continuing to imprint this emotional pathology, this imprint into that organ of the body. And then it's like, all of a sudden it's like, we're left with this, like, I'm unhappy and why can't I find true happiness? Or this, as a primary question, but, or perhaps a primary statement of I'll never find true happiness.
Right.
And it's like, it's literally this continual imprinting of this pathology in the small intestine. And then when we understand how the small intestine, the functions of the small intestine and how that works, and then we go in and we clear out that pathology, all of a sudden people are like, oh, I'm not miserable all the time. Oh, I can find happiness in life. So maybe talk a little bit about that, because I think it's, and maybe you want to even touch on briefly, like the functions of the organs in the fire element. And obviously, like we could, like, this could be a 5-hour.
This is what I'm saying. What are you doing? What are you doing, Leah? What are you doing? Okay. I'm just going to try.
I just want the people to know the things.
Actually, I spent all morning teaching organ functions. That's what I was doing this morning. So it's funny with the body, right? Because we compartmentalize everything. We use these fancy words and hashtags like wholeness and holistic and stuff, but we very rarely allow ourselves to sink into the whole nature of that. And we kind of organs are out of sight, out of mind, right? However, so we hardly pay attention to the organ. We just experience kind of emotional feeling disturbances, which have been churned out by the nervous system as a result of an imbalanced physical ecology. Organs have different tissues associated with them, different fluids associated with them, different emotions, different alchemical virtues associated with them. And we can often see the signs and symptoms of imbalance in the organ in those other things, because it's the other things that we see, like, the tissues of the organ, or the sense organs of the organ. Say the sense organ of the liver is the eyes. A lot of physiological pathology that affects the eyes is really started in the liver. So we often just see the manifestation of the disturbance in our lives rather than associating it with an organ. But, the body as matter, consciousness needs matter to manifest. And often at the deepest kind of levels of that matter, starting in the organs, is where things are, talking about the fire element and the small intestine, not being able to sort things out. One of the primary functions of the small intestine is to separate the pure from the impure. And nothing is really separate in life, especially in these type of communities. You understand the holistic kind of interweaving connection of consciousness in our lives itself. So often our internal organs, always our internal organs, have psycho-spiritual manifestations in our lives, and just going on what you said about the small intestine, one of the functions of the small intestine is to separate the pure from the impure inside our bodies. So if there's pathology inside the small intestine, then you're probably going to suffer with kind of chronic behaviors of separating the pure from the impure in your life. And what is pure and impure? that's relative depending on what your journey is for you. But anything that is not allowing you to stay on a path of clarity in those kind of areas is probably residing in the small intestine and then being perpetuated. We're symbiotic creatures. So the organ creates the pathology of the emotion. I know that makes people uncomfortable to think about, but hey, 5-element theory, it's ancient. It's not me. Okay, I'm just a messenger. And then you're perpetuating, the internal organ with this manifestation of emotional pathology, and then you just have a tsunami happening in the body because everything is symbiotic. So it's like the smoke and fire. If you start a fire, you're going to have smoke, and then you're probably going to suffer with breathing difficulties for it. It just pollutes the whole environment. So this is where 5-element theory really is like an amazing foundation to self-mastery and radical change in your life when you take radical responsibility for what you've been given, which is your body.
Yeah. And, I think that's a good, little bit of a segue to talk about what we see when we actually look at the practical application of people doing this work to create elemental balance and concurrently using Healy to balance bioenergetic field while they're doing this work. So, we've had people in these programs who have lost 57 pounds in 6 months. We have people in this program becoming immortal who were having to receive blood transfusions.
Yeah.
Like regular blood transfusions that have completely stopped having to do that. And again, this is like elemental balancing. So this work that we do with emotional resonance clearing and in becoming immortal combined with bringing the body into bioenergetic balance, Healy plus becoming immortal. We have people who have had debilitating anxiety, like to the point that they have difficulty leaving the house that no longer have that.
Yeah, totally. I might say miraculous, but I think that we're already miraculous when we're born. Just being born in this body is a miracle. And it's just learning how to unveil the miracle that you are, So I guess that's where everything is a lesson. We are our biggest lessons essentially in life, and we are the master and the mastery of our existence. So through becoming immortal and deep elemental exploration and self-mastery, you're really able to unveil the what is and get rid of the what isn't. You don't want to wear extra coats in summer, otherwise you're probably going to get hot. So the journey of wellness becomes more about not of lack, but of realizing your abundance, especially in becoming immortal. It's a total reconnection with the abundance and the miracle that you already are. There is no lack. There is not trying to become what you already are. You already are immortal. You already are well and have the capacity to be so. It's just, exploring the engine a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that, so much just in the wellness space is take this supplement or, do this exercise or do this thing and it's going to fix all your problems. And then the focus is put externally and then we're not actually empowered to look individually at what's happening for us inside our own physical vessel. And I think that, that's for me, that's one of the really incredible synergies with Healy and what we do is he is looking at the individual, and it's not only looking at the individual, but it's looking at the individual every single time it runs a program for that individual. So that's the beauty of the quantum sensor and what Marcus has created. Right. And then if we take that and we put that in combination with, you talk a lot about colonialized wellness. If we take that in combination with, we're no longer just going to use these blanket wellness statements or, eat these foods that are supposed to be good for us or, do these activities that are supposed to be good for us as a blanket that's thrown over the collective. But when we start actually looking at individualized medicine, individualized health, individualized wealth, all of that, right?
Yeah.
And we start treating the individual, that's actually where we see radical change and growth and transformation. We see people come into this program that all of a sudden are making heaps more money. And I really truly believe it's because we stop well, we deconstruct the programming and conditioning that tells us what wellness and health is supposed to be. And we start to look at ourselves as individuals, but then we step into highest alignment with who we are as an individual.
Absolutely.
We're supporting that on a daily basis by bringing the bioenergetic field into balance so that we actually can tap into that clear consciousness and thought, and then supporting the body. You know, obviously we support the body nutritionally, but it's also education, right? Like people just don't know because we're not taught this.
Totally. And often we don't take our knowledge and make it a lived experiential wisdom because there's no longevity in it, because there's no accountability for our uniquity. You know, I always say that we all have different fingerprints. Somebody just says not using our intention and our power to change and heal ourselves. Yes, but often we cannot tap into our unique intention and return to origin, that we come here with our individual blueprints, because there's too much noise kind of causing a roadblock between you and your own divine will. So, you know, you cannot tap into your intuition if there's a roadblock in the way of it, you know. So really removing density and being in ownership of what you have been given to navigate and cultivate health and wellness in this environment, which is the body. You know, we weren't just born into a crown chakra. We are all the things, you know, and a tree with no roots is what? You know, and I really see the body as a root to the expansive nature of our spiritual attitude.
What else do you feel is important to share just about the fire element or about the Shen spirit?
Well, obviously there's many things that manifest. It's, you know, it's so hard to do this all in one call, isn't it? Which is why we make the programs and stuff that we do, and, you know, work with the resources that we have to really open up these things. But there are many difficulties and issues that one will experience if there is a deficiency in the organs of the fire element, or just in, you know, the alchemical virtue that's meant to be coming through it. So physical symptoms might be palpitation, tiredness, anxiety, definitely, like an inability to concentrate, just a general restlessness in one's life, insomnia and stuff like that. And those kind of the way that consciousness unveils itself through this element, through the Shen and through the spiritual attribute of that, is really being able to access clear thought, you know, clear thought in our unique expression of consciousness. And if there is density in the organs of clear thought and consciousness, which, you know, the organs are everything in the human body, then you will fail to receive, or not fail to receive, but not get a clear reception of what that is and what that means for you.
Yeah. So let's talk about Healy programs. So you have developed elemental programs and also spirit programs. So you have a program for each of the 5 elements. These are custom frequency programs through Healy.
I do
that. And then you have the spirit frequencies programs as well.
Yes.
So those are really incredible. So, and, you know, I think obviously it's great to just dive into those, but you perhaps, you know, once listening to this series might know which ones are calling more to you. But I actually always tell everyone, if you're only going to get one, get the Shen. Because it is encompassing of like all the 5 spirits. So
of course,
so you have your custom frequency programs, and is there a web page that they can go to for?
There is. I'm going to drop you. I'll drop a link. I'll get it for you, and I'll drop it here. Okay. But yes, so yeah, the Shen is everything. It's our direct route to consciousness. And while all of the other consciousness in the bodies merge, you know, together and have their normal functions, they are all Shen. You know, it's all a manifestation of the consciousness that we are and the clarity that we deserve.
Yeah. So let's maybe also talk though about some of the programs that, you know, come with the device, the different devices that can be used to balance the fire element and the Shen spirit. And then, you know, maybe I'll just go through really quickly, like some of the things that come up, issues and difficulties that arise when fire element or the Shen spirit is out of balance, is issues with love and warmth, emotional volatility, closeness and intimacy, having difficulty in those types of relationships, issues with happiness, misery, and just general states of not being happy, not being joyful. And then clarity and confusion is obviously like a really big one. And then, the disturbances or the imbalances here, like frequently lead people to like be questioning, am I lovable? Like, why do I go up and down so much? Why do I experience this emotional volatility all the time? Like, how can I truly relate to others? Like, we feel like feeling closed and isolated, and then as a result, not able to relate to other people. Obviously, like, how can I find true happiness, or will I ever find true happiness? And then that piece that comes with the clarity and confusion and not able to have that clear thought and consciousness, that like, why can't I sort things out? Like, why does it seem like there's always some area of my life that's a mess that I can't sort out? So those are some of the things that show up in some of the physical pathology that Michelle spoke about when it comes to fire element imbalance. And like she mentioned, we have four organs or energy centers in the heart. We have the heart, the pericardium, the small intestine, and then the triple burner. So obviously, for me, like when I think about fire element, I actually love the heart chakra program for fire element. And then we have the meridian programs. So you can actually run small intestine, you can run heart, and
bioenergetic harmony is amazing.
And that's in the bioenergetic revitalization program page, right?
No, the bioenergetic harmony programs.
That's where coherence and
it's coherence is a great program, but you can just run those bioenergetic harmony on the field of those organs as well, which is awesome, because I like to work on the field and then bring it in, because I think if you make adjustments to the frequency of the field that you're in, just in life, that goes beyond life. If you're in the right environment, you thrive, then it supports the organ, so I think there's bioenergetic harmony programs and the meridian programs. Amazing.
And what about like, I find like circulation, like I run the different circulation programs a lot.
Yep. They're awesome because it's the heart governs blood, and that's a whole different live stream. But, the blood has a lot to do with the state of our emotions, or lack of, shall I say.
So in Gold Cycle, would there be a program in Gold Cycle that you would be like, oh, this is a great program for balancing fire element or
totally.
Spirit?
Yeah, balance.
Okay.
Entirely. It just brings everything back into the energetic kind of alignment for your unique self. What more can we need than balance? It's amazing.
Yeah. And then you have like in bioenergetic harmony, you've got the circulatory system. That's great. And then obviously we spoke about meridians. You've got small intestine in Meridian 1, and then in Meridian 2, you've got circulation. Chakra, heart chakra, obviously great for balancing. What about deep cycle programs?
Oh God, they're all amazing. Although it's not really associated with the organ of the heart. I'd say breath of life for everything, because it really speaks to our connection, our connection to the abundance of the what is for ourselves. So breath of life is awesome for kind of opening up to the breath of your own consciousness. Yeah. In the fire element.
And I like free flow a lot in there as well for fire. And then bioenergetic support, you were just talking about coherence, I think is a great one. Yeah. Well-being, mind in well-being, I think is a great program. Yeah. So those I think are all really great. And then we'll obviously drop the link in the replay access for Michelle's custom frequency programs as well. Yeah. I feel like, I've done a lot of spiritual work. I've done a lot of spiritual processes. And the combination of Healy with 5 element theory has completely changed my life. Like in ways that like, I don't even think I've fully recognized and realized yet. Yeah. So yeah, I'm so grateful like for this device. I'm so grateful for this work that we're doing. And I'm super excited about like this next round of Becoming Immortal. This is our third time that we're running this. This is a 6-month program. And in this program, we really, we talk about all of the elements and how to bring yourself into balance elementally in all of the elements. And we deep dive. We've got 6 months. So we spend a month deep diving into each element. But we also focus on constitutional factor in this program. Do you want to talk a little bit about a constitutional factor and what that is? Because obviously, as we continue to move through this series, and we talk about the other elements, people are going to resonate more with certain elements than they do others. So do you want to talk a little bit about constitutional factor and how we explore that in the Becoming Immortal program?
So obviously we're holistic beings. So we have all of the elements, we have all of the organs of the elements, so obviously we're going to have all of the elements. However, we are constitutionally aligned with one, and that could be our weakest link and or our greatest superpower. And this happens, we're just born into it, it's our gift to the world, shall you say. And this constitution and the organs of and the emotional pathologies of this particular constitution that you have will be the elements that you probably experience most of your chronic illnesses or physiological systemic illness, and also emotional pathologies that all fall within the paradigm of this element. And realizing that your constitution is quite life-changing. It's really eye-opening, and it really, in Becoming Immortal, we explore deeply. We put people in different constitutional groups. We do constitutional diagnosis, and we put them into groups where you really open up the paradigms and the alchemical virtues of your unique constitution. And this is where like all the life-changing things really happen, in the exploration of the constitution.
Amazing. So we're starting on April 14th. Is that right? Yeah, April 14th.
Yeah.
Which is just a couple of weeks away.
It is.
And it's an opportunity to really come in and dive deeply into this elemental work and learn how to use your Healy in conjunction with your elemental nature, explore your constitutional factor, which, to me, that was the game changer for me. It was, recognizing and realizing all of these things that, about me that had been there my whole entire life that I felt like were weaknesses.
Yeah.
Once I really understood this idea of it's your weakness, but it's also your superpower, brought me to a whole new level of acceptance of me and who I am as a being on this planet. And then enabled me really to begin to tap into that infinite potential, because I didn't feel like I was able to embrace my uniqueness and my individuality, and then not feel like I had to make excuses for that anymore, it was so expansive for me. So, and that's part of why we designed this program, obviously, because we wanted that for everybody to be able to tap into that and celebrate each person's uniqueness. And I think that's really, really important. Yes, becomingimmortal.life. So if you want more information on Becoming Immortal and this 6-month journey with Michelle and I, go check it out. It does include one-on-one work with Michelle and I. It includes a constitutional factor diagnostic session with Michelle. It includes an emotional imbalance diagnostic session with me. And then monthly touches with us, including heaps and heaps of really, really incredible content. I feel like, you go through this 6-month program and you are exiting with a mini PhD in 5-element theory, because Michelle shares so much theory and so much content. And I'm super excited because this round we're actually, I'm doing a whole new series on holistic wealth, and we're really going to be looking at creating sustainable wealth in your life in all areas through tapping into the elements. And we are making Healy a much more prominent part of the program this go round. Because it's becoming a much more prominent part of our lives.
Of course it is.
So check out becomingimmortal.life for more information on the program. Make sure that you register for this series if you haven't already, so that you can catch the replays. This piece that we did today was kind of quite foundational, because we needed to like set the stage and lay some of the groundwork for what we were going to be talking about. But each follow-up session will be focused on an element. So the next session will be on the earth element, which is one that's kind of near and dear to me, because it really is, I believe, where when we unlock and we bring this element into balance, it's where our powerful manifestation abilities stem from. And so it's great for expanding wealth, especially financial wealth, and also really like that transforming our ideas into action. And so I believe that one is happening on Sunday at 2 p.m.
Yes.
2 p.m. Mountain time. So that's 4 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Is the next one. So you'll want to definitely register. Again, to register for the event, it is, this is the problem, too many domains. To register for the event, it is immortalfrequency.com. And just register so you can get the replays and the announcements of when the upcoming calls will be. But the next one will be at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. And we will be discussing the earth element and the Yi spirit.
Yes, indeed.
Any final words?
No, I think that I've said all the words. But yes, join us. It's a great foundation into, what's possible when self-mastery is initiated in one's existence.
Yeah. And yes, I will go. I just put it here. I put the 2 links there in the chat of the Zoom, and I will also put them in the links of the different Facebook lives. And if you happen to be listening to this on the Wealth Witch podcast, the links will be in the show notes for everything that you need to access to continue on with this series with us. So thanks, Michelle, for sharing the screen with me today.
We got there in the end.
Yes, we did. So so we'll see you guys on Sunday for Earth Element. And we may even have a special guest, a special Earth Element constitutional factor guest joining us on Sunday. So you might want to come and hear from a member of our Healy community that is an Earth constitutional factor.
Exciting.
Right. Well, have an amazing rest of your day, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. As you're watching this live stream, you're catching the replay. If you do want more information on Healy, and you heard about it from someone other than us, like definitely go back to them, because Healy is a social selling model, and it's really important that we respect the integrity of the model. But if you have never heard about Healy and you want to know more, Michelle and I are expanding our teams right now with incredible women, particularly that are really, really interested in making huge impact on the planet, looking for spiritual entrepreneurs, influencers, and women that really want to take advantage of this incredible new compensation model that we have with Healy. Michelle and Taryn and I are kind of on this mission to help 144 women achieve $100,000 months. So we've got a big mission and vision over the next couple of years. So if that's you and you want to be part of our team, or you want to know more about Healy, then reach out to us. And they can just DM you as well, right, Michelle?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. So just direct message us and we'll get you the information. And then we'll see you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to connect with me on social media and reach out. I love hearing from you. And if you want more of me, real, raw, and uncensored, make sure to join the Wealth Witch Telegram channel. It's my free channel where I share all of my random daily musings, as well as the information that I feel like is important and pertinent to my community. We've put a link to the Telegram channel in the show notes, so make sure to come join us over there if that intrigues you. Remember, wealth is a mindset, and you are the most powerful creator in your reality. Until next time, this is the Wealth Witch signing off.
Freedom.